The dark winter months of January and February are very, very difficult to get inspired in the garden unless you're like me and you're always out and about doing something. But a wonderful way of companion planting your roses and adding that splash of colour and interest to that time of year is by adding the hellebore or the Christmas rose to your rose collection. Now it is difficult to show this to you, but obviously these are the leaves of the hellebores, the Christmas rose. Obviously no flowers to show you at the moment, but a firm favourite here all over the garden. I love all of the flowers at this time of year when you have to get up really close and personal. Hellebores have wonderful bell-shaped flowers which often hang downwards and are mostly pollinated by moths. So if you put them under an ultraviolet light, you'll see tiny little ultraviolet flecking to the flowers which guide the moth to the centre of the flower and ultimately the nectar and the pollen that's contained within. But hellebores are absolutely beautiful and the kind of thing that you really must get down close and personal with and crawl about on the floor and have a look at. But don't forget to plant things like Christmas roses with your actual normal roses and add that wonderful dimension of colour, often in flower very, very early into the new year. I often photograph a particular white hellebore here at North Lodge as one of the first things I photograph, normally around 5th or 6th of January. Every single year it bursts into life and it gives you that hope for the rest of the gardening season. But hellebores are a fantastic way of adding another dimension, drawing you out into the garden in those horrible, dark, wet, cold months and standing up to those horrible cold winter days, often freezing completely solid overnight and then thawing out the next day and still standing proud out in the weather. So they really have that tenacity that you really like in plants at that time of year. Good way of actually dealing with your hellebores is to make sure as soon as they start throwing up their new season flowers, the lovely new fresh growth, that you go over and you remove all of these very strong, you can hear they're really quite crunchy, these strong dead leaves. Take these away. They might still be green, but you can see these are spotted with rust, pathogens and fungal spores. So you want to take these take these right down to the ground, avoiding those new stems, throw these away. Burn these or put these onto the compost and take these as far away from that plant as possible to avoid your plant being riddled with pests and diseases in the coming year. But I have a lot of hellebores here in the garden, ranging from the Niagara, which is the dark purple, all the way to Alba, which is obviously pure white, and all the freckly and spotty ones in between. I absolutely adore hellebores and I strongly advise you to use them as a companion plant to give you interest and draw you out into your garden in those very dark and uninspiring winter months.